feeling trapped by all the stuff? Can't keep up? No time to think or plan? Has the rush and gush of modern life got you trapped?
Slow is the new fast. Slow is the new fast.
Slow is the new fast.
Set your coordinates. It's Mach 0, making time for life, one thing at a time, with your host, the VIP coach, John Davidson.
This is John Davidson, the VIP coach, and I appreciate this opportunity to speak with you. You are a professional creator, an artist, an entrepreneur. You are a veteran business owner, and you know that the best just have to get better. You're listening to this Mach 0 podcast, Making Time for Life, one thing at a time. And the reason why you are is that the most difficult thing for you to do is to stop, is to slow down. To slow down, to be present, to be able to take advantage of the moment that you have. The only time you can control is the present moment. And so you're listening to this show because you're looking for tools, insights, resources. You're looking for new ways of thinking to get more freedom, to get more confidence, and to increase your earning power as an entrepreneur. You understand the high stakes of competition today in the global marketplace, and that you need a cutting-edge set of processes and thinking, field-tested strategies that are going to help you win. Immunize yourself from the competition. Immunize yourself from changing market dynamics. Be able to stay on your growth curve. Be able to stay in the emerging and growth life cycle of your market. You are an innovator. You want to optimize your processes to get you freed up. You want to own a business, not own a job. You want to make life simple. You want less grind, and you want more production. And so I know that what I'm saying resonates with you, and that's why you keep coming back to Mach 0 with the VIP coach, Making Time for Life, one thing at a time, right here with Coach JD. We've got a great show for you today, folks. I've got great topics here that I know coming around the corner here into the third month of the year. We're already in March of 2016. Can you believe it? Where did those 2 months go? But look back over those 2 months and ask yourself, what were your best victories? What were your best achievements? What did you do? Did you bring your actions to your intentions? Did you stay solid on your goal-centric type activity, or did you veer off? Did you have a no-fall-off plan? What did you do, or did you fall off? What got you to fall off? What was it? What did you learn? What distracted you? What got in your way? What obstacles presented themselves so far in the quarter? Take stock. Be honest. Tell yourself the truth. That's the best resource you've got, is to know where you really are compared to where you want to be. You got to have guts. You got to have the toughness to be able to tell yourself the truth as to where you are. One of the biggest obstacles that entrepreneurs face is called dancing with a 700-pound gorilla. Being invited to dance with a 700-pound gorilla. The 700-pound gorilla is the short-term impulse. It's the gratification, the temptation, the sudden reaction to fear, the sudden reactions we have to opportunities that get us caught in the undercurrents of short-term reactivity instead of long-term creating. You need the grit. You need to be resolute. You need to stay focused. Continue to hold the tension from where you are to where you want to be and go all the way. You need to get downfield, get to the end zone. But you find yourself struggling with the 700-pound gorilla. These gorillas are very, very tempting. They get you off track. One of them is just the allurement of your own discomforts. That getting to where you want to go requires a certain pain threshold, that things aren't always necessarily going to be comfortable for you. And so one of the 700-pound gorillas is wanting things to be continuously comfortable. It is human nature to want to seek comfort. We seek homeostasis. It's the natural inclination of being a human being, is to find something comfortable, to be okay, to find a refuge, to be safe. But that 700-pound gorilla gets really, really tempting when you've got to go all the way. You've set an impossible goal. That goal is something you do not know how to create. and you learn as you go. Yes, creating has constraints. You will not do it without the constraints. But if you're focused on everything being easy, then what you'll do is you'll only stay in the domain of what's easy for you. What you'll do is you'll tend to incline yourself to look for things that are easy. What do? Well, you put on the sidelines the things that are difficult. But let me say this. You don't have to orient yourself around what's easy or hard. You don't have to orient yourself around whether you're satisfied or not. You don't have to organize action around whether you are comfy and comfortable or not. What organizes action is what you want to create. And that is a fundamental choice. That is the kind of toughness that's required. It's not about having more discipline. You have all the discipline you need. You're 100% disciplined to your own habits. Yes. You have plenty of discipline. You don't need more discipline. You just need to stay focused on what you're trying to create. You have a place to go. Now, these aren't problems that you're solving. They're not unwanted circumstances that you are seeking to eliminate. They are outcomes that you want. They begin by loving them first. That's right. Creating starts with loving your creation. Take stock. How much of what you're wanting to create is really important to you? How much of it do you deeply desire it? Do you want it for its own sake? Those are the best creations, when we want them for their own sake, as Robert Frost would put it, for its own sake. We want to see it happen because we just do. There's nothing in vogue about it. There's nothing fashionable about it. There's nothing that creates status around it. There's no right way of doing it. There are no right answers. You're not living someone else's goals. You're living your own. You're staying true to what matters to you. But the 700-pound gorilla is very, very tempting. You may not be approved by other people to create this. In fact, you won't be. You're going to have a bunch of naysayers. You're going to have people that are not going to agree. Why? Because they're working their goals. They're not working yours. And they have a hard time with you succeeding and winning, because since they're not, you're probably going to shine the light on the fact that they're not, and they're intimidated by you. There are those out there that do not seek your success. They just do not support you in getting to where you want to go, because they're so preoccupied with power. They're so preoccupied with their inadequacy. They're the worst kind of friends. They're not for you. They're takers. They're not givers. Why do you have them around you? Why not discern what they are, who they are? Why not get clear on some people are your support structure, but others are not? But you can't keep consensus on everything to create what you want. If you were organizing around everybody being in agreement, you'd get through your life and do nothing, because you'd be creating people to agree with you rather than creating things that matter to you. So the question is, what is your fundamental organizing principle in your life? It is, or could be, to be the predominant creative force in your life. To be the predominant creative force in your life. That is a choice, to do it or not to do it, to create or not create. That is the question. But no. You get allured by all these short-term temptations and wants, by what seems comfortable, and you want to compromise and say, well, instead of having that large goal, that big goal, that true goal that I truly want to go after, that true north goal that I want, that North Star, I'm going to compromise because things get difficult. I need to be realistic. Oh, yes, I need to be realistic. Yeah, I should only do what I think is achievable. That'd be about as good as repeating the past, because that voice is coming from the past. Whenever you operate from what is achievable or what is realistic, you're actually comparing it to what you know you can do. But that's not what creating is. Creating is bringing something into being that doesn't exist yet. Are you really creating, or are you compromising? Are you really creating, or are you just reacting? Are you really creating, or are you accommodating your fears, or your status, or your security, or your comforts? Because to get to the next level, you have to leave your security, status, and comfort at the door. It's not going with you. You're not going to be the same person, and you're not going to know how to get there. Creating is separate from what you know. You are separate from what you want to create. Just like a mother and a baby. The mother is separate from the baby in that she's focused on the baby. She's not focused on her reactions. Those are not important. What's important is bringing that baby into life. She's not focused on whether she creates the baby on a good day or whether she's optimistic about the baby. Her thinking is not irrelevant. It's just irrelevant. It's not a factor. It's not a prerequisite to bringing the baby into life. Hence your creative process. What are you trying to create? What do you want to create? What is your place to go? And are you honest about what your current reality is? I know that you have temptations. I know that you have sudden urges. I know that you meet obstacles. I know that you don't feel like it. I know that you, on certain days, you're in a bad mood. I know you get Monday morning blues. You're called being human. Ha! You're going to have the full range. But how honest with you are you about that? It's not about positive thinking. It's not about tricking yourself out of thinking better, expecting things to be better, and all that stuff. In fact, the more that you're focused on internally who you are or who you're not, or what's going on with you and why your thinking is this and that, the more you're meddling with those qualities, the lousier creator you will be. Because you're not focused on your creations, you're focused on you. If you talk shop with any creator, they're not focused on themselves, and they don't take a psychological approach to creating. They just start creating. I asked a guy, Ron, once what he wanted to create. He says, I'm going to start a business. He said, well, do you think I should go to business school? And I said, no, the only way to learn how to create a business is to create a business, is to start creating a business. You will never be prepared for the creations that you want to create. There's no school that will ever help you build or be ready for that. You just have to start creating it. And then through the act of creating it, what you will be revealed is you'll see where your needs are. You'll need tools. You'll need ways in which you can learn and then apply that learning where you do it and then you apply what it was that it brought you. So the only visibility you need is just your very next step. And once you do that, you'll be able to get the visibility on your next and your next and your next and your next. You take a meaningful leap. You leap into uncertainty. You become friendly with the mystery. Oh, JD, but that's just so frightening. What am I going to do? How do I deal with the uncertainty of it all? I need to predict the future. No, you don't. You don't predict the future. Let's be honest. You can't predict the future. You don't know what's coming. You can create the future. The only way to verify whether something is believable is to create it. Oh, but JD, I need to believe in what I can create. That's a 700-pound gorilla. You don't need to believe in what you create. Believing is believing. Creating is creating. We're not in the believing business. We're in the creating business. Right? Believing is just a way for you to deal with your discomfort. It's a way for you to kind of assure yourself that it's okay, that you're being a responsible person. Oh, yes, your ideals. Oh, you got those. We got to live up to our ideals of perfection, right? We've got all these standards of who we need to be. That's not creating either. In fact, think about where those standards came from. You've got all these standards that you need to live up to because there are negative beliefs that you have about yourself. Yes, there are qualities about you that you don't like and that you deem as, disqualifying. Yeah, we all do. If you read any bios of people in history, famous people that created great aspirations, they all had aspects that they didn't like about themselves. Right? They didn't have perfect thinking. They didn't have perfect self-esteem. They didn't have a self-intact persona. Just the opposite. A lot of them were broken. A lot of them had broken relationships. A lot of them were very incomplete and very flawed people. Most of them were. But they came by themselves honestly. The one trait that they had in common was they had an honesty about that with themselves. Rather than play tricks on themselves or try to use gimmicks to feel better, to feel different, to change their state of mind, to manipulate themselves, to do all that self-help, none of the above. They were just masterful at their creative process. They were so self-reliant that whenever they would have an obstacle, they would use that obstacle to construct with. Just like a surfer in a wave, you drop into the wave. You know where you want to carve on the wave, but you have to be referential to what the wave is doing. You get out of touch with what the wave is doing, you're not responsive to the wave, you're not learning. You're not learning how to create the ride that you had intended when you dropped in. You have to kind of put an eye on the wave, and you have to put an eye on the ideal ride or the desired ride that you want to create. And then through that process of riding, the current reality, the one you're taking action from, is moving closer. It's resolving the tension between what you have and what you want. And then you end up with a great ride. And then you go out to the next wave, but you take that last ride with you because you create momentum. That ride changed you. That ride brought new things into you. So dancing with the 700-pound gorilla has a lot to do with this short-term thing. Your willpower, you go into it, you try to force yourself. You're so worried about how you feel that you lose eye on your creation. So you dance with the 700-pound gorilla. Here's the punchline. Just know the 700-pound gorilla is always there. Don't ignore it, and don't try to overpower it. Put your confidence in check and understand what you're up against. A lot of times these sources of compromise and these sources of getting out of touch with what's going on are extremely alluring. Knowing how alluring they are will help you really respect the challenge that you're up against. Bring it on, baby. That means what you're going to bring on is commensurate with what you are actually up against. It's like going to the ocean. You're not in denial of the danger of the ocean. You understand the negativity that it has. But you also understand the greater sides of it, the positives. By showing up as a whole person, meaning looking at all sides of something, you can have that kind of negative preparation, as well as that positive confidence. But don't slice the picture. Don't edit. Don't edit yourself. Don't edit current reality. Meet it where it is. Understand what the gorilla is. You can see it, you can be with it, but you can renounce your tendency to act from it. That's not your standard of reference. It's not about being overly emotional. It's not about self-control. In fact, knowing how human you are may be the best place to start. Understanding your flaws, understanding your weaknesses, knowing your limits is your best strength. You can navigate through situations in a certain way. You can request teamwork. You can change the environment, stay out of environments that tend to get you into a fix. It's not about you, right? It's about making great decisions. It's about your creative process. It's about focusing on what you want to create, not on yourself. We're going to take a break. I'll be right back. Hope you enjoyed this part. Dancing with the 700-pound gorilla. I'll be right back.
It's Monday morning. I'm drained.
You've got mail.
Look at this. It's the Monday Advantage video. Yeah! Now I can get past the distractions and implement something new.
The Monday Advantage. It's that easy. Just subscribe free for a limited time at highlevelperformance.com. Every Monday, launch the week with fresh tools, giving you the right state of mind, focus, and confidence. See what becoming a gifted boss and serial creator is all about. Subscribe today at highlevelperformance.com. That's highlevelperformance.com. And start enjoying your Monday Advantage today. Having a life where you have the creative freedom to do what you love and to offer the world something that only you can bring to the table. That is the world of high-level performance with John Davidson. That is the world of radical creativity. That is the world that you can be a part of when you realize all that is holding you back is you. Begin the journey through one-on-one coaching that gives you the finesse for business and lifetime achievement, and find your place on the roadmap to high-level performance today. Visit highlevelperformance.com. From go time to slow time. Slow is the new fast. Mach 0, making time for life, one thing at a time. With VIP coach John Davidson.
And this is JD. We're back. You just had the first part of the show, dancing with the 700-pound gorilla, staying true to your creative process. And it just reminds me, I did several shows way back. 2007, we did shows called No Hype Allowed. It was the earlier version of this show that went after the problems in the self-help movement. I really felt a strong protest that people were being misled by a lot of the structures and a lot of the thoughts and principles that were inherent in the human potential movement. And people were looking for self-improvement to create what they want. And that's exactly the thing that doesn't work, is all the affirmations and all this self-stuff. On the one hand, is a lot of work, but you don't need to do it. It's about creating. And creating is about the underlying structures. It's about a way of structurally thinking through things and looking at how the underlying structure composes a pattern that is in your favor or not. When you look at underlying structures, you're looking at the larger geometry of your life on how things line up. And it's very simple. When you have a desired state and you compare it to a current state, whatever that will be, including the current structure, including the current fears, allurements, the truth about what things are relative to what you want to create, the more honesty you have compared to the love you have for your creation, it forms a powerful force called structural tension. which is the force seeking resolution between what you have and what you want. The question becomes, how can you stay there? Because you keep coming back to it. You're going to fall off all the time, but it's how you recover and get back on. Where am I going? What do I actually have now? What is my next step or action in service to the outcome? One of the challenges that I have all the time with clients, and this is one of their biggest challenges, is how do they stay on keeping on? How do they keep on track with their goal-centered type actions when they are saturated, drowning in a morass of busyness and stuff that seems like it just leaves no time to even think or plan? And even if things were going so well, they'd have no time to think or plan or even get to anything important. They reach a certain ceiling of complexity or a plateau of progress. Sound familiar? And at that plateau, you feel very alone because you don't know who to talk to about it. Things are seeming like they're plateauing, and you're confused. You don't know how to get beyond it. You don't know how to ask for help because that seems so intrusive or interrupted to stop, re-engineer something when things are just needing to go so fast that you feel like the world is moving and it's getting ahead of you. Let alone the war on stuff, stupid things you fire first, stuff. All the pseudo work that you have to do isn't getting to what you want to do, which is all the impact work. You know, the strength focusing work, the things that you do that are full of voluntary energy, and also the things that you intrinsic desire and all the activities that you need to be doing to bring those intrinsic desires into being. Well, that's the fun stuff. That's the involvement that you're hungering for. But what keeps you out of bounds is being allured by all of these distractions, these internal distractions, external distractions that cause you to lose your creative freedom. And I've talked about this on this show so many times. And so the question one must ask is, how do I permanently delete this state of things, this reactive state of things, so that I can stay focused on what I am wanting to create? Where do I look for this to change? What is the change work? And I think there are external habitats and there are internal habitats, and both of them are linked. That you have to look at the internal world as well as the external world and try to look at which one you need to go into first. And my inclination is always to go into the internal first, because simplicity is about having a hierarchy of importance. It's not about getting it all done. That's the enemy. That's the 700-pound gorilla, is that you think you can suck it all up and that you're going to have this endless to-do list and you're going to knock it all out. Look, I'd rather have you have some complainers because you don't clean up your inbox and have a life than have a clean inbox and get to every frickin' email and every loose end and not have anybody to talk to. The problem is the dream killer is isolation. Being so busy means being disconnected. And if I know you, you have more bottom lines than your business. It's not about getting it all done. In fact, if you think it's about getting it all done, that's because your heart is probably empty and that you have a way of kind of, in an addictive way, you actually use getting it all done as a fix. Busy is a great place to play hide and seek from the truth that you're not doing anything that really matters to you. The hardest part is stopping and looking. And when people do, they're shocked. They're shocked to figure out that 70, 80% of their time is just superficial bullshit. It's stuff. It's not real. It's not stuff that's moving them in the direction of, one, what they're meant to do, what they're called to do, what their career is requiring them to do because of what they want to create. They're just reacting to a bunch of things. And what's interesting is the hard truth to accept is that you're actually helping that happen. You are probably rigging it to control failure and to control humiliation and to control isolation and to control losing control by having too many things to do. This is so hard to see because it's the water you're swimming in. But the way you've got it rigged is, look, you were the bouncer at the gateway anyway. You were there when it started. You let all these things through the red velvet rope. You're the one who got caught in the undercurrents. But you're not just the chess piece. You're the chess master. You have created a situation where you have a reason for you to excuse not making all in on what you want to do. You're not all in. Even if you were successful, you'd pull back because you're timid. I know you're scared. I'm frightened. And that's the 700-pound gorilla. And we have ways that we unconsciously, even unconsciously, right before our eyes, rig it so that we actually outlaw and ambush and neutralize our forward pattern. We do it because we live inside the cleverness of our concept. Our fear is so clever. It's so clever in seeking ways to booby trap us into a gotcha. The quicksand is so easy to miss that we get into a normal where we lower our standards. And then we find ourselves in a situation where we're prisoners of our own machine. That's right. We loosen up on our priorities. We lower our standards. We don't set boundaries. We lose our focus. And then we say, it must be my ADD. Oh, well, it must be because I'm so interested in so many things I can't get to anything that's important. Oh, come on. You've played that trick on yourself the whole time. That's the cosmic joke. You're so interested in so many things. Oh, you poor thing. You're so interested in so many things you can't get to one thing. The reason why you don't get to one thing is that you're afraid. You're afraid that it might not all work out. You're afraid that it might not go your way. You're afraid that it just might not support you financially. You're afraid that you might lose a few friends. You're afraid and you're afraid and you're afraid and you're afraid. And so am I. You're no different than anybody else. All the heroes in the world have the same or more fear than you do. But it's all about how you relate with it. I'll be right back.
Grow your business and grow as a human being with these captivating books authored by the VIP coach himself, John Davidson. The Day I Built My Barbecue is about creative freedom. Learn how you can not only live well, but also grow a thriving business at the same time. John shows you his step-by-step technique with the principles, strategies, and steps to move from a business operator to a business owner. The Day You Build Your Barbecue is the day we all wish for. Totally free of distractions, totally available to living well, fully present. Then don't miss Unstoppable You. It's about creative value. When we do what we love and love what we do, we discover ways to make our business more fun and monetize our passions. Through stories, tools, and steps, this book will help you bring something to the world that no one else can and bridge your most unique talents to the deepest aspirations you have of the future. And stand in the presence of all you are. It's about creative purpose. What does it mean to live on purpose? How do we work with the mystery that life presents us at every moment? In this book, John shows us through the silent spaces in life how to connect with our innermost sacred projects and passages. You'll learn how to bring the work, language, and presence of the soul into everything you do. Visit highlevelperformance.com to pick up any of these books in paperback or Kindle editions today. That's highlevelperformance.com. From go time to slow time. Slow is the new fast. Mach 0, making time for life, one thing at a time. With VIP coach John Davidson.
If you're going to live out of your clever concepts, and you are going to miss out, you're not going to play all the music in you that you should play, and you're going to die having an unlived life. Live close to death. Imagine tomorrow was your last day. Is this what you would be doing today? No, of course not. You'd be more confrontive. You'd be more impatient with your fear. But you take it for granted. You think you're an immortal person. You think that you're going to live forever. That's how you play it. That's right. That's one way. That's one workaround that you have. That's how your fear sneaks up on you, is that you think you're going to live for a long time. And then the years are getting closer to the end and closer to the end and closer to the end. And your values are changing. And your values are changing. And you're feeling it. Oh, you're feeling it. You're feeling the difference. You're seeing regrets, and you're saying, oh, I don't want to die without telling my friend that I love them. Oh, I don't want to die without getting to the dreams that matter to me. Oh, how could I do this to my health? Why am I last in line? Why am I sacrificing it all? Why? Because you're living cleverly in the concepts. There's no ambiguity here. Let's not act just so out of touch with this. You're creating the smokescreen. You got it camouflaged. But, you're just deceiving yourself. You're deceiving you. You're deceiving yourself in ways. You're twisting it around for yourself so that you have an excuse. And you're living by that excuse. Because, Lord knows, if you were to end up and you'd end up having nothing, oh boy, you'd never want to end up there. So that you're just trying to avoid it all. You're in a total defense pattern. Wow. So what do you do? How do you change? Where do you change? What do you do? Do you work on yourself? Is it you? Are you the problem? No. You change the underlying structure. First things first is you stop being dishonest with yourself about what you're doing, the web that you're spinning. And get underneath it all and kind of see what's really at play. You've got a big governing concept underneath there. A concept is a belief or an assumption or a view of a certain way, a lens that we put on reality, a lens that we carry from the past, because it's expecting something to happen, or it's interpreting something, right? It's something that you look through as a means for you to make sense of everything. That's what your brain is doing. It's kind of that conditioned mind stuff that's contaminated and polluted, and you're trying to predict the future, and you're trying to preemptively strike on it before it goes all bad. You see? Do you see? Do you see? Do you see your own seeing? You can, because your levels of awareness are able to do that. Yeah, you can see your own seeing. Do you need to fix yourself? No, there's nothing wrong with you. In fact, if you thought something was wrong with you, you'd spend your whole life fixing you instead of exploring the glory of what you really want to create or the glory of what's really right with you. Is it about changing yourself to think more positively? No, it's a form of positive lying. It is lying. You don't need to pretend. And you don't need to tell yourself lies about what you are, because who but a person that would need to tell themselves they're significant would be someone who isn't. It just begets the belief. Just leave it out the door. Focus on creating. Focus on what you want to create. Change the underlying structure. Get a place to go. What do you really want to create? Nothing disqualifies you. You can rethink your life at any time. You can either live by a life plan or you can go with the flow. But when you're going with the flow, it's because there's a clever concept you have that you're powerless. You don't have the ability to create what you want, or don't wish for it because you might not get it. Yeah, concepts can be very, very constraining, but what regulates them is you have a mind with a level of awareness that can let those concepts be concepts. Let them be bygones. They're there. You don't need to flush them out, but let them be there like an old friend. You don't have to activate yourself from them. You don't have to form a strategy around them, behave out of them. You don't have to experience the consequences of them. We can reroute this, just like rerouting plumbing or rerouting the underlying structure, the underlying foundation of a home from which you build on. Stronger structure, bigger home you can build. The restructure is the creative process. What do you want to create? What do you now have in relationship to what you want to create? Commit yourself to the truth. And then what is your next action? Understand the actions that are in service to what you want to create. Mastering your life as a creator. Making your life-building process a work of art. Focusing on the canvas like an artist, not yourself. The power comes from the canvas. It comes from the guiding idea, the vision, the picture from which you have a rudder in the water to make your decisions today. Focus. Focus means choosing, selecting what you want. Not because you justify it, not because you deserve it, because you want it. You don't need to deserve what you desire. That's just you keeping score. Don't make that all up. Leave that in the bleachers. Focus on what you want to create. Right now, start creating one thing a day. A daily habit of bringing one thing that you choose into being. What do I want to create? Think of something right now. Maybe you want to create a cake or a pie, or you want to create a project, or you want to create art, or you want to create a poem, or you want to create a business meeting, or you want to create a new company, or you want to create a new car, you want to learn how to build one, or you want to create a hobby, or you want to create a new marriage, or you want to create a relationship with your children, or you want to create an activity. See? It's all about creating. You're involved in your creations, and you're pleasurably involved when you are creating. But you have to be keenly aware of where you are in relationship to what you're creating. And that keen awareness means you have to kind of put yourself in check. Your automatic thinking, your past, your editing. You don't edit anymore. Stop editing. Rid yourself of your ideals. Rid yourself of your expectations. Put those things in check. Be vigilant with your awareness to know when they come, but let them be there. Instead, ask yourself, what do I really have in relationship to what I want? Good, bad, ugly. Tell yourself the truth. You'll be there for yourself because you give yourself good instructions. Having a place to start and having a place to go, it's so simple, it's hard. You forget how simple it is. We've made it up to be such a big thing because we have to earn what we create, or, we have to deal with the obstacles. We make them. They're obstacles. They're supposed to be there. But you learn from them. Creating is a way of life. It is a lifestyle. It is a way into life. In fact, you don't know how not to. We are natural builders and creators. But we don't know what we know. We forget. And we make it up to be this big psychological thing where we get ourselves all psyched out. And It's all about fear, and it's all about this and that, and mangling with ourselves, and changing with this and that, and building this up, and looking for our issues, and curing our self-doubt, and all these things. We're giving life to our shit. Why do we give it so much energy? Focus on the creation. When you focus on what matters to you, it gives you energy. You don't give it energy, it gives you energy because you love it enough to see it exist. And what you currently have now is a friendly reference point. It's where you're supposed to be. It's where you actually are. And the more distance you have to go is more energizing. It makes you resourceful. Isn't it fun to think outside what you normally do? You have to improvise. You have to figure out new things, experiment. You have to eliminate things that don't work and find things that do. That's the fun of it. That's what it is about. It's about creating. Creating. Not being creative, because you can have a lot of creative ideas and not create. You can create and not have a lot of creativity. They're two different things. But creating. Start creating. This will be our show for today. This is Mach 0, Making Time for Life, one thing at a time. You're listening to John Davidson, JD, the VIP coach. We are online at highlevelperformance.com. I think we have the best coaching program in the world for high-level, top-ranked leaders. We provide private elite coaching for them. We provide coaching for top producers. We have national producers throughout the nation in financial services and 5 other industries. We'd love to talk to you about your goals and future and see what we can cook up. We are a boutique coaching enterprise that does coaching in 3 different countries now. We work one-on-one with our clients. That is our formula and format. And we feel honestly that you as the entrepreneur have a lot of good to do in the world. And so it's very important to us in our mission to help you bring into reality all the dreams and goals that belong to the world through you. So our number is 714-375-6624, 714-375-6624. We are at highlevelperformance.com. Thank you very much for listening. You're listening to the VIP Coach. This is Mach 0, Making Time for Life, one thing at a time. See you soon.
For more tools, go to highlevelperformance.com. Better business, better life. Fast growth, keeping things simple. Or visit us on Facebook. Mach 0, Making Time for Life, one thing at a time. Set boundaries, focus your attention, and maintain a positive state of mind. Hire a VIP coach to help you. Call 714-912-9261.